Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daneshri. I'm the customer consultant for Elsevier based in South Africa. Today, we're going to be doing a webinar on how engineering can help, a demonstration on remote learning and engineering searches, supporting health and safety systems. So just to start things off today, I just want to introduce you to the presenters. As I explained, I'm the customer consultant for Elsevier. I generally deal with the products Science Direct, Scopus, and Mendeley, and I'm based in South Africa. Our two presenters today will be Isaac Kudu, who is a Mendeley advisor based at the University of KwaZulu-Natal at the Westville campus in Durban, South Africa. He is an environmental and analytical chemistry researcher, and he'll be taking us through a brief introductory training on Mendeley today. Our other presenter today will be Ahmed Helmi, who is the Engineering and Geoscience Solution Sales Manager for Africa, and he will be doing the majority of the training on the engineering solutions today. So let's start with the knowledge cycle.
So right now, thank you very much for going through EV with me. Right now, I'm going to be covering Knovel. A lot of your institutions have access to both Knovel and EV, but some of those institutions have only access to Knovel or only access to EV. Now, we've been talking about an abstracts and indexing platform for the past hour. Right now, we're going to be a little bit more focused on a totally different tool that is very valuable to engineers in the field, in the companies, and of course, in the classroom when it comes to universities. So Knovel, what we've been set out to design when we're doing it, and it's a platform that is designed by engineers for engineers. So Knovel is a technical information solution that delivers reliable technical answers, supports engineering workflow and decision-making process, linking academia and research to industry. Now, this is a very big promise to follow through. And that promise, what we do is basically our engineers have curated more than 10,000 different titles, all books, all engineering references. We're not talking about conference papers, scientific papers, or journals. We're mainly talking about engineering handbooks, references, books, and case studies that are carefully chosen from over 150 different publishers. Again, Elsevier is only one publisher out of 150 different publishers. You'll find books and references from Wiley, Taylor & Francis, SME, and more importantly, all of these important engineering societies like IHME or SME or IET or ASM that have all these valuable data and all these valuable information. Now, what we've done is that we're not just creating here an ebook platform. If you're looking at Knovel as an ebook platform, you're only using about 10% of its value. Basically, what we've done is that we used all of these established data, and we were very focused on only using data that is recognized by industry, as a lot of engineers in the field already are using Knovel for design and even for safety and for their ongoing operations. And a lot of engineering students are using it in their classroom. So it's not theoretical data. It is only established data that is been recognized by the engineering community and by industry. And we have applied a lot of data analysis tools and data mining on all of these important information that is within EV and Knovel. And as we've just said, on the different data points, we index all of these different data sets and data points within Knovel. So right now, Knovel have more than 90 million data points. So just to get you to imagine, for instance, if you're an engineer or a researcher right now that is struggling with a problem, let's say you have a tank of anhydrous H2SO4 at very high concentration at room temperature or at ambient temperature, and it was designed to withstand corrosion, but right now you have a corrosion crisis where the pipeline that is connected to that tank is corroded, and you have a health and safety issue, you have a big problem. And you want to solve that problem very quickly, so you want to have an immediate chart that gives you the information on the different safety levels and like say 316 steel, that which the tank and the pipe is made of. and you want to know where are the safety measures, what went wrong, where were I safe, what went wrong, and the corrosion happened because there's no oxide formed on that pipe. And you go to Knovel, you search, it directly pops up, it brings up a chapter, a page in that chapter. It doesn't give you a book, it gives you a page in a chapter in a book that has this chart in here, which has all these different graphs on reactions on three different or four different kinds of steel with H2SO4 at various temperatures and various concentrations. So right now you want to pinpoint the right number for that particular temperature and for that particular concentration. On a different circumstance, you only have this on PDF, but if you have this on Knovel, all you need to do is just click on the graph on that blue button and it will open the graph in a digitized format where you can just click on these different points that is relating to the temperature and concentration of the system that you are examining. And it will just create all of these different points on an Excel sheet or on this table where you can just import it directly to Excel on your computer or import it to another software where you want to do the analysis. Another thing, all of these handbooks and references have a lot of very good material property tables, all of these very important tables and regulations. How can you search hundreds and hundreds of books to find the right table and then search thousands and thousands of lines to find the single number or heat coefficient or whatever number that you're searching for? This is exactly what we've done. We've created all of these highly advanced, highly reliable books, but then we've digitized all of these values of these tables where you can just search Knovel, search all these thousands and thousands of tables as if you're searching in Excel, where you can just pinpoint the right number for you and the right number that you want to use. Again, equations. If you're calculating a new system and you want to freshen up on what is the right equations to use to solve that system, let's say, for instance, you're calculating the flow rate of that acid within that pipe, you can use, for instance, a Knovel to find the right equation. And for instance, here you're looking for Bernoulli's equation, so it brought up the equation, the parameters, the reference, everything that you need to find that equation. But then if you want to actually solve this equation very quickly to continue with your work, all you need to do in Knovel is to click on it and it will open what we have called as a worksheet. So this worksheet here, as you can see, has the full parameters of this equation defined. And all you need to do is, if you're utilizing a pen and paper, if you just click on the number and change it, type in a different number, it will numerically calculate the values and it will give you the numerical solution into this green box, which again will give you the right time and the right answer for you to continue with your work. So right now what we've done is that we've gathered all of this important information and data in books, digitized them, indexed them, give you all these data analytical tools, and then linked all of this information with a highly optimized search going through 90 million data points. So to add up on that, using that highly optimized search engine with all the different material properties that are in these books, we also designed a dedicated material property search engine on Knovel. So it can actually help you find and compare all of these different alloys for the right specifications and the right characteristics that you would use, whether in design or whatever thing that you need to do in your research. Now, Knovel is not only used in the classroom or by researchers, it's heavily used by industry. And as you can see, it is used by oil and gas, chemical industry, engineering, design and construction, aerospace and defense, equipment, manufacturing. All of these different engineers in these different industries use Knovel every day. And they're using it to do different stuff, whether they're improving their engineering outcomes, developing new products, or scaling up prototypes, or developing and improving new processes. And again, this is something that you would find yourself stuck into right now with this COVID-19 pandemic, is that a lot, for instance, of the car manufacturer companies right now have started to under lockdown, and they were asked by their governments to start producing ventilators and to repurpose their production lines to be used as ventilator production. How, as an engineer, you can quickly understand the new process, alter the ongoing production line, and start producing up to standards ventilators. This is something that Knovel can definitely help. As you can see, Knovel is also used across the world by the top 50 engineering schools and across Africa, also by the top 100 schools across Africa. But more importantly, it is also used by all of these different companies within these different industries. So just to understand what Knovel covers. So Knovel covers more than 35 to 40 different subject areas and premium content offerings that are looking to have a comprehensive overview when it comes to engineering. So of course, it covers electrical, mechanical, civil engineering, but also it covers mining, it covers nanotechnology, oil and gas engineering, it covers earth sciences, it covers health and safety and hygiene. It covers general engineering and project administration and project management. It covers textiles. For instance, right now, if you want to design a new mask that is N95 compliant for the COVID-19 pandemic, where should you go, and how can you find reliable information? Again, Knovel is a place to go that will give you a handbook, a full text with the regulations that you need to find out which textile combination would you need to do and a fully approved N95 mask. And again, it is not only Elsevier content, it is 150 plus different publishers and engineering society. Now, when you go to Knovel, and if you're already not signed in, you can create a new account if your institution have access to Knovel. If your university or company have access to Knovel, all you need to do is enter that official email, and it will recognize that you have the right to have access, and it will give you that access. Another thing that you would need to do if, for instance, you don't have an account on Knovel, but you're used to using your institutional website in accessing, you can check if your institution have linked its single sign-on system with Knovel through this part, or if you have an Open Athens protocol that you're using to sign in through your institution, again, you can use that. Of course, a lot of different societies also give their members direct access to Knovel, where you can just visit the webpage of that society and sign on that webpage to have access to Knovel. Of course, if you're already registered, all you need to do is just type in your email and password, and then you just log in. Okay, right now I am on Knovel. So the first thing that you of course see is basically a very simple search engine. If you have never had training on Knovel, it is very intuitive. It is very understanding. You can quickly understand where it can what it can provide. It can provide property search. It can provide equations. It can provide even a dedicated unit converter. So right now, if I just go and let's say type in face masks, okay, and I'm searching for face masks right now. I want to repurpose my production line, or understand how can I in my university start using the lab that I have in producing maybe face masks for me and for my colleagues. Once I search on face masks, as you can see, we have a dedicated search results during the COVID-19 pandemic that gives you all of these different valuable material for COVID-19 related issues, whether it's medical textiles, medical materials, 3D printing, ventilator design, biomedical device design, safety, all of these different issues. But within normal circumstances, if we don't have this dedicated particular search results, what I'm going to see is a division of the search results by books and texts, graphs and tables, and definitions. And I can definitely refine my search results with all of these different data points. And as you can see, there's a data point, for instance, on pandemic. So I've had face mask, and I can just click on pandemic. Now it narrowed down all my my search results on face mask related to pandemic and books and text. So right now, for instance, I can find different books here. For instance, this is a book that is called Textile for Hygiene and Infection Control, and it's talking about masks and filters. There is also another book that is called Pandemic Strategy, or a chapter called Pandemic Strategy, from a book that is called Disaster Recovery Handbook. So there is a dedicated handbook for disaster recovery for an engineer, and it gives them a chapter on pandemic strategy. Another one on pandemic strategy, and there is also here a dedicated chapter on COVID-19 response prevention planning that is issued 2020, and here's a specialized emergency planning pandemic. So I can click on this one. I will also click on the first one, and this is what I get. So I have the full text resource right now on Knovel. So this book, this is the full book. Here it is. Here's the different chapters of that book. And one of those chapters on face mask design is actually talking about the different regulations that were employed, which are like N95 and N99 during the H1N1 and H5N1 pandemics, and the different textiles that were actually adopted and approved by regulators for N95 and N99 masks. So, okay, right now I want this information. I will highlight it all, and I will add a note. So adding a note to that paragraph, and let's say that's COVID-19, and I will put it in green because this is not a question. I'm color coding all my important stuff in green. So what happened right now is that, let me do that again. I am either adding a note or highlighting this paragraph here. I want to exactly highlight this paragraph, and I'm going to add a note to that paragraph, say COVID-19. So I'm adding the notes. So right now it copied the whole paragraph and my comment, which is COVID-19. And once I've done that, this chapter has already been saved to my Knovel with my comment, which is my own personal space on the cloud here on my Knovel. The other thing that I can do is I can just simply download that PDF to my computer through here. So I've just downloaded that here, and I can open it on my computer. I can share it with my colleagues and add it into an email, or I can even save it to a folder. So right now, if I am a professor and I have a research group or a class that I'm teaching, and I want them to all revise all of these different material, I can just create a folder like this one. Let's say a COVID-19 folder or a class folder. So let's say this is for class 1. I will add my comment and then I'll save. Now I have a folder that is full of these different material. Okay, another thing, if I do another search, and let's say, for instance, I am looking for ventilators. So I'm looking on ventilators. It will also give me either I am defining the clinical needs, system curves, if I'm looking for an ICU, intensive care, machinery, air leakage, all of these different things. And I want to look at graphs and tables. So for instance, these are different tables that are related to ventilations and applications related to ventilations. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to go back to the text and I'm going to click on clinical needs. Or let's say I want to click on ventilation systems. So right now I'm moving away from the clinical need and from the medical need, but I'm looking at, for instance, let's say on new things that I need to inspect in my facility because for health and safety issues I need to revise my ventilation on the production line or on the production floor, on the factory floor, because again I want to reintroduce my workers and my team into the workforce, or my workforce into the factory during a pandemic or recovering from a pandemic. So I need to revise all the different ventilation systems and health regulations that are available here. So I can also find new material on that. Okay, and if, for instance, let's do another health and safety search. So I've done here a safety search. Again, it gives you all of these different data points. You can also find different graphs and tables. Let me click by random at one of the graphs also to show you the different utilities of these graphs. So for instance, we can look at this one, for instance. This is a proposed specification for the alert soil nailing design. And here is the graph. If I want to look at the graph into the book, this is normally what I see. So this is the graph that I see, and I see it in PDF format. Okay, and these are the different tables that I see. But right now, when I clicked on it as on the graph digitizer where it's loading right now, we'll take a second. Again, here's the graph again, but it's not in a PDF format. I can zoom in and I can, if you see my cursor, there's a yellow box where it has X and Y in it, where I can go to a specific, click on that specific point. And every time I click, it populates a table on this side. And I can increase the accuracy up to 16 decimal points. And I can just download it to Excel and download the picture to PDF. I can download it to Excel or PDF with the reference, or I can print them all together in one page, like for instance, here. So I have the graph and the table and the reference all in one page. Another thing that you can see is, for instance, the different equations. So for instance,
there's a question from Hajar wanting to know if there's content on railway sciences.
okay.
From Daniel, who wants to know if machine learning applications and concepts are also covered. Yeah, so that's the first one.
We can also look at that directly. So as you can see, here is the method. an equation, and here's how it's represented. And this is the reference where it came from. And all I need to do is I just click on the equation, and it will open that equation in what we call a worksheet. Now, to answer your question, we can do the search right after this, or right after I showcase the material property search.
Thanks.
So here is the material. Here is the worksheet. As you can see, all the variables are being defined and the equations are written down. And here is the numerical value of the solution and the equation. And all you need to do is just go to any of the different parameters and change its numerical value. So any of those parameters, if I, for instance, let's say, let's just to make sure that we remember the answer. So the answer here is 1.19. And if I change, let's say, this 2 feet into still loading. Seems the internet in the whole world right now is being affected.
Someone is asking if it's possible to write equations with Knovel, such as math type equations.
Yes. So what I've done right now, and I will answer that question right now. So I've changed it from 2 feet to 20 feet. And if I go back, now it's recalculating, and it changed from 1.119 to 2.24. So as you can see, you can just directly change and manipulate that. You can definitely type new equations. So you can import this equation into a new sheet or a blank sheet. So here I can open a new blank sheet where I can type and define my own equation. I can import different equations from different books and build a system. So I can add my own equations to existing equations from different resources and get them to feed parameters into each other. So I can create the whole system numerically here, and I can share it with my colleagues. I can share it with my students. I can save it to my Knovel and have it whenever I need it. So yes, I can definitely create my own equations or combine different equations from different resources. If I go back to Knovel, here is the material property search. You'll find 2 methodologies of material property search. One for chemical material search, where there are more than 27,000 different chemical compounds, where you have access to all their thermodynamic properties that are produced by NIST. The other thing is to utilize all the different books and resources available on Knovel for material property search. So if you just go to my Knovel material property search, it will get you to that search engine where you can look at these different resources. So let's say, for instance, if I'm looking for all these different material properties for steel, I can find more than 2,200 different resources for steel. But if I, for instance, want to look at, let's say, the conductivity of steel, I've just typed in and I didn't even continue, and it understood that I'm looking for electrical properties, dielectrical conductivity, or thermal and thermodynamic properties like thermal conductivity. So I'm going to choose electrical conductivity. And right away, it reduced the results from 2000 to 17 results, and I can actually numerically define what I'm looking for, more than, less than, any numerical range that I would like. And if I inspect that 17 results, so I'll find these 17 different tables from 17 reliable references and handbooks, like, for instance, the ASM ready reference for electrical and magnetic properties of metals. And I can just click on that table. where I can find all the different alloys and their conductivity as well. And I can just simply download that to Excel into my computer. And I can take whatever numerical values with the reference, where it came from and everything. So I'm just downloading it to Excel right now. Again, if you have access to Knovel right now, please go ahead and try out some searches. And if you don't have access to Knovel and you're working on a research that is important to your university or something related to COVID-19 pandemic, please let your administration contact us, and we can open access to, for about a month or two for you to be able to complete your work for free during this pandemic. But it has to be done through the institution itself. Another last thing is if I wanted to download the citations or download the records or anything, or export this data, or even export the full text to Mendeley, I can just type in to export or download to Mendeley. I can choose it to Mendeley and it will open, again, a portal to sign in Mendeley, and I can import the full text or the citation, everything that I need from Knovel to Mendeley right away as well. Danishri, is there, what was the questions, the last questions that we were trying to answer?
Okay, we've got quite a few good questions that have come through. First, can you please confirm that Knovel and Engineering Village, they are not free products? Because we got a lot of questions about that.
Of course.
It's not a free product, right?
Yes, so Knovel and EV both are subscription based by institutions, so you cannot subscribe to them as an individual. Your university would subscribe to them. A lot of the attendees today have already access to Knovel in their classroom or in their company, also as EV. Sometimes you have one, not the other. We tend to recommend to have both, because one gives you all this insights and analysis on all the research and publications out there, and one gives you the reliable answer that you're looking for immediately for action. If your institution is interested in subscribing to Knovel, just shoot me an email and I will give you all the needed information. But if right now you don't have access to Knovel, but your institution is focusing a lot of research and a lot of efforts for the COVID-19, we would like to cooperate with you. We already have opened access to EV and to Knovel to a lot of institutions with their design subjects for different departments, because they're either looking for new ways to design ventilators and to do 3D printing for ventilator parts, or they want to update the research on their health and safety. As part of our support, all of these research institutes doing their part in the engineering world to combat COVID-19 or reduce the repercussions of the pandemic, we are very much happy to help. We normally open it by institution, so we have to be communicating with your administrator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they subscribe, if a university wants access to Knovel, do they need to subscribe book by book or by book chapter, or to the platform?
Okay, so if you want to subscribe to Knovel, if you look here on the browse, this is a list of the subject areas. So you can, of course, subscribe to full Knovel, all the different subject areas, or you can pick and choose the different subject areas. Now, when you pick and choose these subject areas, just also be, you have to know that we are adding more books every month to all the different subject areas. They will automatically be added to your subscription right away with no extra cost. So you pick and choose the subject areas of interest. Let's say, for instance, you don't have a chemical engineering department, but you have a mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, so you only want to subscribe to electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. You can just pick those two, subscribe to them, and any new material within these two subject areas, we can definitely add, it will automatically be added to your subscription.
We're also getting questions about when students graduate. Are they not going to be able to access once they graduate university?
So there are two answers to that. Number one, if you still have an institutional email as an alumni and your university still subscribes to Knovel, using that institutional email as it's an official, that's basically your student's email. If you still have access to it, you still have access to Knovel. The other one is everything that you save to my Knovel you will always have access to that, even if your institute's cancels its subscription to Knovel, or if you leave the institute and you don't have access to your email anymore.
Okay, great. From Johan, what sort of reliability checks are out into place for platforms such as Knovel and Engineering Village? Is there some sort of validation we can do ourselves? Also, is there a risk for using Knovel's equations? As you mentioned, Knovel provides a certain page from a book. Is there a way for us to obtain the entire chapter to see how the equation was derived? For example, what crucial assumptions were made to obtain these equations so that we don't run the risk of garbage in, garbage out?
Absolutely valid question. You can download the full book. Nothing on Knovel is not downloadable, and you have the full text of the book. When you have an equation, it references to a book, and that book you can download directly, and you find all the information around it. The book is a peer-reviewed publication. It has been tested by the editor of that publisher. We only have all of these different books that are from reliable editors, reliable publishers like Elsevier, Wiley, that sort. Everything on EV as well is peer-reviewed. And again, we have quality checks every month. And at any point, if somebody raises a flag on a publication, we remove that publication and we warn the publisher. And if the publisher does not comply with the quality standards, we actually remove and ban the whole publisher and its publications. So we have a zero tolerance policy on EV and on Knovel. If there's anything that has been proven that it had less quality, I'm not talking about bad science or garbage in, I'm just talking about a lesser quality on the high metrics that we've set. We have zero tolerance on that. These are all reliable handbooks and books that are coming from reputable publishers, and you have access to them to download them, and you can definitely look at the references very easily and check them out.
Thank you. Is the database of Knovel the same of Engineering Village, or is it different?
So Engineering Village is an abstract and indexing platform for research and for publications. So it does not give you the full text. It just navigates you through all the 2,500 different engineering publishers around the world and all their publications, standards, conferences, papers, and books. And it will lead you to that full text at that publisher's site. So everything on Knovel is indexed on EV for easy discovery, and it's a discovery platform. But on Knovel is a totally separate thing because it has full text from 10,000 plus, actually more than 11,000 now, because we're adding month by month different titles from 150 different publishers, and you have the full text of it. There is also for companies a way to link between EV and Knovel from within Knovel, and for universities to link Knovel and EV from within EV. But that's only for discovery purposes. They are totally different products, totally different platforms for totally different use cases. But that can correlate and can be complementary to each other.
Okay. Can this platform be used to create algorithms?
It can give you access to books talking about the algorithms and how to create algorithms. It can give you access to books that have algorithm samples, because this is highly covered on Knovel as well. But I don't quite understand how it can help in creating algorithms other than giving you the skills and the knowledge set to create these algorithms. The other part that you would be familiar with is that all the tables, all the equations, everything is downloadable to Excel, to MathCAD, to the different mathematical software that you would use to create other equations or simulations.
Okay, thank you. How do you create your own graphs and tables based on your objectives from Kwabena?
There is an advanced training that you can get, but it is basically on plotting the results of the equations. So again, it is not MATLAB. Knovel is not MATLAB. Knovel is a step further than Excel, or it helps you to feed in the data into Excel, but it is not MATLAB. So either the graph is already available into a reputable reference that is verified and is trusted, and then you can use and extract the data from it. But if you want to create your own graphs, that can be done through the equation worksheet. But again, we cannot include it in Knovel because Knovel has only trusted published data.
Okay. While you're on the topic of tables, could we change the unit of the final result on a worksheet?
Yes.
Okay.
Knovel has a dedicated unit converter that you can use to change all the different units, and it gives you all different available unit options, where you're looking at a graph, or you're looking at a table, or you're looking at an equation. So yes, you can. Or you can use the unit converter as well.
Perfect. Then the last few questions are just about content. If you maybe want to demonstrate if there's any content on, for example, engineering mathematics, or machine learning, or railway science.
So
Either one of
railway
those.
science, I've already, I think, looked at railway engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Think a second ago. So I've done railway engineering. It had more than 900 books and text available under rail joints, deflection methods, transition curves, and track maintenance. Machine learning, let's just search for it quickly. So on machine learning, it has more than 1,200 books and texts that are available under these data points: speech recognition, face recognition, data mining, fault diagnosis, all of these different data points. We can take these questions offline. If you can add your questions to the comment section on Facebook, we are on Facebook Live, and I will put a recording of this webinar on YouTube and on Facebook. So you can actually go there and find them, and you can put all these questions on the comment section, so we can answer them as well. Well, thank you very much for attending, and if you have already registered to our Researcher Academy registration, you are entitled right now to claim your training certificate for this session. This is the code YUTUOR that you have to enter to verify that you've attended the training, so you can claim your certificate. I know that is very important for a lot of you, and so please go there. If you've not registered and you've attended, please register at the link that you see above, which is bit.ly/3BYYZZX. If you type in that link, you'll go to the registration page and register and enter the code to get the certificate. Any important questions that we've not covered, Danishri?
No, we've covered everything else.
Okay, so by the end of this training session and webinar, I am really thankful for your patience. We've taken about an hour longer than anticipated, so I'm really thankful for your patience. I'm also very thankful for all of your interactions, and most of all, I am very grateful to Isaac for his wonderful presentation on Mendeley in the beginning, and I am more than in debt to the wonderful moderation from my colleague Danishri, who have done a great job moderating your questions and interrupting me at the right time to clarify more points than needed. Danishri, do you want to say anything in the end?
Yes, I have just asked for everybody to please follow our Facebook group, Elsevier Community. A lot of people have asked for this recording, Ahmed. If you could tell them where they can find a recording, and if you are going to be sharing your presentation, where they can get that from.
So the presentation will be uploaded to Researcher Academy, so you can get that from there. This recording is live right now on Facebook. So once we end the session, the recording will be available for the full session. I'm going to break this session into two, one focusing on EV and one focusing on Knovel. So you can find it on Elsevier Africa Facebook page and on Elsevier Africa YouTube channel. And we will advertise them once they're ready and uploaded on our Facebook page.
Great, great. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for your patience. Thanks for attending. And thank you, Ahmed, for a wonderful training session.
Thank you very much, and cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Keep safe, everybody.